I'm Sydney Miller from Hawaii, and you're watching College Volleyball Weekly. Let's go, Bows!
I'm Kendall Whitmarsh with Arizona State, and you're watching or listening to College Volleyball Weekly. Sports up!
Good day, everyone, and welcome to College Volleyball Weekly Beach. We're going to top 10-ish, maybe 15-ish, but in that range. And we are episode 301. The men's got the 300th episode, but you know what? We got Sydney Miller of Hawaii on, which is way, way better than any 300 episode than those old crotchety, salty old coaches that are on the men's top 20. So, Sydney, great to see you.
You too. I'm so happy to be back. I'm sad I missed a week or two, but I'm stoked to talk about last week and what's upcoming.
Well, we missed 2 weeks because one, travel that we
Mhm.
both were at this last weekend, and then I think you just were busy. You're actually
Yeah,
traveling, period.
yeah. It's been a lot. I mean, you know how it is with Hawaii. We're always on the move. So figuring out practice times before we leave and stuff is always tough, and the time difference can be tricky, but we're made it today, so we're in the
Well,
clear.
I'm glad that first week I could just blame you because I actually had to prepare for a broadcast the next night. I'm like, oh, it's all Sydney's fault.
It wasn't my fault, FYI. It's never my fault.
Well, we are at the technically the midway point of the collegiate beach season. Week 4 just wrapped up, and a lot of stuff has been happening. And I wanted to start with you talking about your Hawaii Beach Bow team. They've been on the road quite a bit, and it's going to get even longer from what it looks like. So, talk about what's been happening with one. You got a kind of a new first year coach. Everyone knows Danny Alvarez. He was an assistant, but came back to be your head coach this year. And what really counts is what's happening with you guys in Big West now. So talk about the Beach Bows.
Yeah, so we left last week for a 14-day trip, which is really long for us. We are taking our spring break on the road. So, I mean, this past weekend we were in, it was what, the East Meets West, right?
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, that's right.
tournament at Manhattan Beach. And then this coming up weekend, we have like our first Big West rival tournament. So I think we're really stoked. I think as a team, we were a little disappointed overall from the weekend. We were really hoping to, snag a win from someone who was ranked higher than us. And I mean, we were super close. We lost LSU 2-3, ASU 4-1, but I mean, the scores were a lot closer than it felt like then 4-1 is a duel. But also, we're very optimistic as a team because, like we said, or like I said, we have Big West coming up this weekend, which is super important for us as a squad. So it'll be our first time seeing everybody this season. So I think we're really stoked and excited. And to touch on Danny as our head coach, I mean, it's been nothing short of amazing. I think it was kind of like the refresh and spark we all needed. Personally, for me, I felt really lucky because I had him my freshman year as my assistant coach. So I kind of
Mhm.
already had that like relationship with him. And he's very similar to me with the banter and sarcasm, and we have a really good relationship. So that's been nothing but great. And he gets on my case, he's on my court. So he's always giving me a hard time, but I know deep down he just wants the best for me. So it's been great.
Yeah. Well, great synopsis of your last weekend because I got to watch a little bit of that being on the mic and seeing what's happening. But almost felt like Hawaii was always right there in the hunt
Yeah.
at the tail end of sets and just didn't have enough to push it through because they were playing in waves with the twos and fours and the 1-3-5s. Twos and fours, which happened to be your flight, were right there about to snag the
Right there,
you know the,
dude.
the the set or the dual point, and something would happen where uh the other team would go on a run, and it could have easily been 2-0 going into the second wave of flights of the 1-3-5s, but it just ended up turning, and that's why you see the 4-1 5-0 scores. But
Mhm.
you guys were battling.
Yeah, it
Um,
does it definitely doesn't feel like that is the like result. Like it doesn't feel like we got swept or like a 4-1 is usually a pretty good beatdown. Like there was a point where like it we were all like I think fives had won and then both threes and ones were in the third. So like it could have, been like kind of a reverse sweep kind of moment. And then like even in my match, we were up 21-16 in the second and just some balls didn't go our way and then we didn't end up going to three. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we're right there as a team. There's just a little bit of small technique things that we have to figure out and some more execution things down the stretch. But I mean, like you said, we're halfway through the season, so there's still time to, flip a switch kind of and turn those third setters into dubs.
Well, the LSU one was high drama, and I'm going to call it because the duel was two actually is 2-1 LSU, and the I believe the fives and the threes were right in the third set
Threes
tie
and the
breaks.
ones. Threes and the ones.
The threes are the ones were in third set tie breaks, and they were deep into the third set, like in the red zone, and
Yeah.
it could have gone either way. And then they all just fell at the same time.
Yeah. Literally. No, that's exactly what it felt like too from the outside. But, we were right there. But I don't know. I think it was interesting kind of what Danny said after the end of the weekend is he was like, obviously we had a really good showing in our first tournament. We beat UCLA, which was really exciting for us as a program. But we
Hmm.
also lost to St. Mary. So he's like, we beat one really good team, lost a team we shouldn't have. So we're kind of exactly ranked where they're supposed to. Like we're beating the teams we're supposed to be beating. We're losing to the teams that are above us for the most part. So kind of just like putting that into perspective of like you kind of have to, grab it a little bit more if you want to move up in the polls or like get the opportunity to go to NCAs. Like none of these
Hmm.
teams that are above us are going to give anything to you. Like you have to go in there and, say like this is my match, my duel kind of thing. So I think that's our biggest goal for this upcoming weekend.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned this weekend, and you're in Long Beach for the what is the Big West preview.
Mhm.
The teams that'll be there: Sacramento State, Long Beach State, Cal State, Bakersfield, Cal Poly, UC Davis, CSUN, and of course Hawaii. So that'll be happening. I think it's over 3 days, correct?
Yeah. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it should
No
be
more
fun.
than two duels per day for your
Yeah.
squad.
2 duels per day, not flights, which thank God. So that'll be nice.
Well, with that, let's move up to a team that we saw this weekend, 12th ranked. Well, I think they actually stayed at 12 this week in the AVCA poll, and that's LSU. They have an 11-7 record, but don't let that fool you because they took losses. They went 1-3 this weekend with the lone win over. Sorry, your beach bows. But what can
To
you
be fair, I won my game. To
Yeah,
be fair.
you're the point. You're one of the points. But what are your thoughts on LSU I mean, they technically have already had the midseason rumble. So, what do you think, how they could be in the MPSF here this season?
I mean, I think them as a squad, they're very heavy on like one true big and one true little. Like
Hmm.
I find very consistently like 1 through 5s, like there's a very two targets that you could choose between is one that's usually like a little super fast shooty girl or one that's like a hammer. So, I mean, I feel like for LSU, like it I mean, obviously it's working for them for the most part, but I think they kind of need to figure out within the next couple of weeks or months, how to get the close ones because I feel like when they were against like other schools, like this weekend, obviously they did beat us, but they did fall to the other schools. I noticed that they also would make it to like third setters or,
Hmm.
like would really draw out the matches, but they weren't able to finish. And I don't know if that's a lack of um, beach training because I know they have a couple of girls from indoor.
Hmm.
I don't know, but obviously, again, LSU is always a great team. Their twos, actually, I'm gonna give them a shout out. Literally so scrappy, such a great team. Like watching them is actually so fun. I don't know their names, but I'm sure you have it somewhere.
I've got to pull it up because
Pull it
I'd
up.
learned. Well, is it Bethany Helmuth, the transfer from Texas A&M, straight off a national championship indoor, was
That
playing at
no,
the
so I played her actually. She was really good. Yeah. So yeah, she was really good. I mean, you could tell that she came from indoor. I mean, not a weakness at all. Just like her strengths were definitely like hard swinging and like she had like pretty good like movement forward because you know how in indoor like you're like able to move forward. But yeah, no, she was awesome. She was super sweet. I played her, so nothing but good things to say about her.
Well, you were saying the twos, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah,
Well, interesting you should mention that because as Skylar Martin and Tatum Finlayson, which one of the pairs that stuck out for me for the Tigers or Sandy
yeah,
Tiggs this weekend was that number two pair.
yeah.
Tatum Finlayson was a lot like you, Sydney. Long blocker, touched a lot, and
Mhm.
she was super aggressive and athletic, and
Yeah.
it was fun watching her play. They just were
Yeah.
falling short on the tail end of sets
Mhm.
again.
No, they were a really fun pair to watch. I mean, I think they complement each other really well as a pair. Um, Overall, just like the defender is really scrappy and kind of gets everything up, and then the blocker moves pretty well for her height. So like touching a lot of the stuff the defender gets up. So yeah, definitely a hard pair to beat for sure.
Well, Skylar Martin, the 5'4" defender behind her, very Kristen Nuss or Cruz inspired. Congratulations, Kristen, on the marriage. But she said in the MPSF preview early in the season that she found her inspiration. She's like, I want to be just like Kristen Nuss, and she was.
Oh,
She was shooting the ball, all over the
yeah.
place, Coffin
No, she was.
corner.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it was fun watching her play. Next up for LSU, Death Volley Invitational or the Gauntlet. Another beatdown, potentially could be a beatdown against Texas, Grand Canyon, Arizona State, and Boise State. So
Be a
we're
good
going to move
opportunity
up.
for
What's that?
I said it'll be a good opportunity for them to prove. I think Texas and ASU, and then even GCU and Boise, like it'll be a good opportunity for them to close out the games that they should be closing out, and then even a potential to upsets. So I think it's a good upcoming weekend for them.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to talk about a rival of yours, Long Beach State at 11 last week. 10-4 overall. They went 3-1 on the weekend, lost to Stanford 0-5, wins against Washington, North Florida, and Houston Christian. Um, you know, Long Beach State, solid at the one pairs. We know Taylor Haganaw and Malia Gemantera, but the rest of the pairs need to kind of prove themselves here. What do you suspect Long Beach State will be doing here in these upcoming weeks or this weekend as you are getting ready to face them?
Yeah.
I don't want to stoke the
Yeah.
fire so when they play
No, no, you're good.
Sidney Miller on the podcast. What you
No,
say?
oh my God, stop it. Stop it. Literally though. No, I mean, I'm really good friends with Millie and Taylor, and of course, like they've done everything to earn their spot at the ones, and they're a very respected pair. Um, for the rest of their team, I find that I think they're still trying to find their footing a little bit. They lost a lot of girls last year due to like transfers and also just graduating. So I think just finding like who their top pairs are. I don't think they have a hard time finding like their fives and their fours. It's more of their twos and threes because they lost they lost
Julia
Natalie
Westby.
Glenn, yeah, and Westby. So those were like two of their top blockers, so those are spots that they have to fill. They still have Demi, which again we've talked about, this is similar to Malia, very scrappy, quick, just high IQ
Mhm.
volleyball player. So I think she's a good addition for the top. And then I saw that they also moved Savannah Standage up. So I don't know. I mean, I'll be really interested to see. I've seen results, but I haven't been able to see them live in action. So I'm interested to see them this weekend and see what they have cooking.
Yes, they will be at the Big West
Yeah.
preview. I mentioned all the teams, so we can just jump on from there. But wanted to point this out. Taylor Hagnon, Malia Gemantera are 11-3 on the season as a pair. Look at who the losses are to. Let's see. The uh, pair of the year, Maggie Boyd, Sally Perez is one. Anna Paloya and Tannen Rosenthal. You got the Italian pro, and Tannen's just the beast. And then, of course, Avery Jackson, Kelly Bellardi of College Volleyball Weekly. My goodness.
Our
Pretty
queen.
solid teams.
Yeah, no, those are amazing teams. I mean, I wouldn't expect like anything less than a lot of wins for them for the rest of their season. So yeah.
That is right. Yeah. Let's go down to Cal. 11-6. They're 10th last week. They are moving up one this week to 9 in the AVCA poll. They had a win against LSU, Arizona State, FIU, but took a 2-3 loss to Texas. Thoughts on Cal?
I think they had a really good weekend, to be honest. I was like really surprised from when I've seen them, like when they were in Hawaii at the beginning tournament. Like I was very impressed with kind of the way that their coaches have moved around their lineup. And I think like beating LSU and ASU are two really good wins for them. And like even 2-3 in Texas, like Texas is one of the top five teams right now. Like that's a
Mhm.
really, like big push. And I don't think that it would take that much to flip over to a 3-2. I think who had a lot of good plays. Well, I think their fours got pair of the week. Yeah, Gia Fisher.
Ava Hoy and Gia
Yeah.
Fisher.
Was
Ain't
that their
nothing but a
sweep?
G thing. That was
Yeah.
this week.
They were
Yeah.
fun to watch. They had some dual clinches for their squad. And then Grace Hong and Mary Lou were up at the twos and they were kind of handling. I mean, I don't think they like won too much over the weekend, but they had a lot of three setters and like were very, very close.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously they beat FIU. I think they beat
They went 500 for
LSU.
the week. They Reagan Hope, Danny Kensinger of ASU, and
Uh-huh.
Nicole Robeson and Hannah Gubik of
Yeah.
FIU.
So
But
those are great wins for them. I mean, I think they were what at the fours in Hawaii, so moving all the way up to the twos, like that's some
yeah,
good progress for them as a pair.
well, this is the thing. One, Mary Lou Pali, College Volleyball Weekly. Just want to add
Queen.
that in there.
I
But
knew you were going to. I gave you the opportunity to laid you up, Rob.
well, is a great segue because we had mentioned Tatum Finlayson and Skylar Martin. That was one of their losses on the weekend. And the other loss was to Texas's freshman pair that checked basically their pros from the U17 team, um, Kachka Pavlikova and Anna Pavlikova. And if you watch them, they are like a machine.
Rob, you just crawled in and
What's
said
that?
they're so good. Because she played Yuli, come here. She came in
Yeah,
and said they're so good. She had to
this,
play them. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
but they're not from Norway, so they can't be that good.
Oh, no, it was funny. We were watching their film because Yuli played them, and then my roommate Sophie.
Mhm.
I was watching their game because I play at the same time as her, so I didn't get to watch. And yeah, no, they're like hammers. Like they were both like hitting the 10-foot line. I'm like, oh, okay. They were like hitting over Sophie. So
Well,
no, super good
Mary
athletes.
Lou and Grace were in the zone in that match. I mean, the third set tiebreak, 2018 was the final score.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they weren't winning the close ones, but they were so close. Like they were putting themselves in the best position to like be successful.
And seeing the that pairing with Grace, Grace is one of the most aggressive defenders that I think I saw this last weekend. I mean, you could see her going for it, like she was out for blood to get to the ball, so it
Yeah.
was cool seeing that mentality.
Yeah, I'm really happy for her. I think, transferring over from USC has been really good for her. And I think, kind of like you said, that switch of mentality of like aggressiveness has been like nothing but great for her.
Well, for Cal or the Golden Bears, they're 6-6 against ranked foes, with five of those losses coming with a 3-2 score. So, man, they're on the bubble, on the
On the
bubble.
bubble.
And when it comes to at large, if they don't win the MPSF tournament, then you have to look at these scores and who they've been going up against because they've got a great resume.
Very true.
So let's go up to number 9, LMU. At least last week, they move up one this week to 8. They went 12-5 on the season, 3-1 on the weekend. Wins against FIU, LSU, and Arizona State, but a loss to Texas. Tell me your thoughts on the Lions.
I think in the past years, LMU has been like a team that was able to beat, teams that were more ranked above them. But I feel like recently they're very consistent with beating the teams who they should be, but I don't find that they've, like upset anybody yet. And they're putting themselves in the right positions. Like they lost to Texas. I know that LMU was tied in the third, right? It was the ones, I think. But I don't know. I kind of was expecting a little bit more from this year for, taking second in NCAA's last season. So I don't know. I mean, I never count them out, but I'll be interested to see what they do in their next, what are they? Are they home next weekend?
They are home against
UI?
Concordia or
Yeah.
CUI, got to say the branding
Mhm.
correctly. And then the A6 Classic with against Pepperdine and Tulane. I
Tulane.
believe it's in the Malibu courts or their new courts on campus. But you
Hmm.
mentioned that Texas match. That was the last duel of the day on the Strand side courts, and it could have gone the other way.
I
I'm
know. I was watching. I was trying not to because I was supposed to be cheering for my own team, but when it's 14-4 or 14-13 for the duel, and I hear Rob using his serious voice, I gotta lock in over on the other side.
Well, I will tell you though, and I actually talked to head coach John Mayer the next morning, but um, it could have turned the other way in the second wave of flights in the 135s. And then to have the ones decided on a double call, which I mean, I know it's so subjective, but you know, I've seen worse chucks.
I don't know. I saw it. I think, okay, here's my take on it. I do think that it wasn't like 100% a great set, but I also don't think that it should have been called like for the game and for the duel. Like I feel like there's been worse sets that have not been called. And like to call that for all like for that deciding factor was kind
Yeah,
of like, and also I feel like they've been so lenient about sets like with the refs and the new rules and stuff like for that to be like the decider of the duel. And obviously like it's important to remember there's so many more points before that one point. Like that
yeah.
point didn't decide everything, but like, gosh, I would hate to be Tannen in that moment because I would just be so upset.
Oh, I think I mean there are a lot of boo birds and
Yeah,
chirping going on after that one,
yeah,
but one thing is like you called it right. You cannot count LMU out. I mean they're coached by John Mayer and
yeah.
you know Angela White and a great group of athletes. I mean between the Austrian girls, Polish blocker, Anna, the Italian, and let's talk about Tannen though. She has, I mean, she's changed her body from last year. She is like, I think she's like 1% body fat at this point because she is so buff, but you can tell in her swing, I mean, she hit a heavy ball last year,
Hmm.
but her serve, she's taking a fast approach, hitting a hybrid now, but with pace, and she's thumping the ball. She doesn't shoot it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, she's definitely a really good athlete for LMU. And every time she goes up with the left hand, I get surprised every time still. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot she's ambidextrous. Right.
Yeah,
So how do you
I didn't.
block that? You don't.
Yeah, how do you defend against an ambidextrous hitter? I mean,
I don't know.
Gina Urango does it, but you've seen her for years. But Tannen
Yeah.
is pretty darn talented for being a sophomore.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget she's really young.
So, but LMU has some other gals on there, and WCC Pair of the Week, second time this season. Davis and McAllister winning the Pair of the Week.
Hmm.
Ellie Davis, and I forget the other her partner's first name. I was going off memory here. Let me look at my notes. Oh, Katie McAllister, Ellie Davis. Sorry, ladies. A lot of names for me this weekend. Moving up
There's always a lot.
to eight. Actually, it's a switch. Arizona State was eight last week. They fall back to 10 this week. 11-3 overall, 1-3 on the weekend. They came into the weekend undefeated and faced UCLA first and got that loss in early 05. Cal 1-4 lost to LMU 2-3, and sorry, Sydney, Hawaii 4-1 win. So
No, it's okay. Honestly, like the girls on that team are so humble and like a lot of them are my good friends. So like if I were to be beaten by anybody, it would be by I would be the most okay with ASU. I'm not okay with it, but the most okay with it.
yeah, they are. I mean, if you look at it, even with the losses this weekend, some of the top athletes on their team, Arden Biesecker and Zoe Taylor, they are now 12-2 on the year. Fantastic record. McKenna Flaherty and Kristen Gilmore go to 11-1 as a pair. So they're going to do damage in the Big 12. TCU is not going to have a cakewalk by any means.
I don't think so either.
So, and then with that, Gilmore is one win away from 50 career wins, which is great. They head out to Death Valley Invitational. They'll be facing Georgia State, Texas, Florida State, LSU. Easy weekend.
I think it'll be a good opportunity for them. I think I mean, not that they told me this, but in my opinion, if I was them, I think they kind of were on a high from their, winning streak, and then they were faced upon some ranked opponents, and I'm assuming they're
Mhm.
probably a little disappointed with their outcome. I mean, 0-5, 1-4, and then 2-3. So I mean, I think they got better throughout the weekend, but as any school is, like you never want to get 0-5 or even 1 forward. And I think that, ASU is like the best their program's ever been. So I feel like nothing short of like that they will bounce back this weekend and hopefully some upsets will come their way.
Yeah. Yep. Well, speaking of upsets, we're going to move up. Florida State at 7, but they move up this week and
Heck yeah. Let's
to
go,
number
Florida
6.
State.
But you have to look at not only this last weekend, but even through today because they were playing through today. But uh, they were at the FAU Beach Invitational. defeat number 13 FAU 4-1, beat number 3 USC 3-2, Tampa 5-0, and also beat TCU 3-2. What does this say about Florida State to you, Sydney?
I think they're saying, "What's up? We're ready to play." I feel like they kind of have been like in the outskirts of just like, I don't know, like I just feel like they haven't been any tournaments yet where they've like been in the motion. But like even in the fall, like they were running such high IQ like volleyball. Like they're running quicks, tempos, pins, like stuff that's so hard to defend and like at such an advanced level that I mean I can't imagine that they're so hard to stop. Like I think it's great for them. They're peaking out a good moment, and I think if they continue at this pace, like they're going to be in a really good spot for NCAs.
Yeah. Well, what I think is interesting is, oh gosh, I'm not the butcher their names, Audrey Koenig and, oh gosh, Audrey Koenig and Alex Durish
Yes, you did it. I knew
literally
I could do it.
just came back from a Pro Beach Tour Futures in India to
Yeah,
play this week. They won the
dude.
gold in India and then came back here to play these matches. So,
Yeah,
man, they've got some serious stamps on their stinking passport. Like coming in right into this FAU Invitational and getting these big wins against USC and TCU. Exciting fashion. Bailey Higgins and Mariah Massey, Florida State, they get came down to that final pair, the five pair, by defeating Carrie Keefe and Kylie Truslow of USC 17-15. Deuce set third, but the second set 20-22. So some good battles there. And then TCU, Gella Andrew and Maddie Trusty, the deciding dual point against TCU. And with that, last victory against TCU, Seminoles get their seventh AVCA top 20, 25 win this season.
that's
So,
awesome.
I was questioning where Florida State would be, but it's not a surprise because Brooke Niles, who just got her 300th career win, and also 100th career win against a top 20 program. So, good stuff going on out there. I think I just wanted to see what pairs are going to come out. And you know what? They're doing it. And
Yeah,
they just didn't get the chance to come back west or come out west. So, but you know what? It comes down to Gulf Shores, and that's their hood, and that's what they're
there
used to
you go,
playing.
right? They are. They always show up in Alabama.
And then they show up at Death Valley Invitational also. Grand Canyon, Cal, Boise State, and ASU will be their opponents. And that moves us up to 6 last week, but falling back to 7 this week. That's the national champions, defending national champions, TCU. They had a 3-2 win against 13 FAU, 5-0 win against Tampa, 2-3 loss to FSU, and a 2-3 loss to USC. And today, another loss to USC, 2-3. So TCU still figuring stuff out, or what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I like I'm surprised, like you always have expectations for the like recent national champions and like of course no one's going to be perfect and like I didn't expect them to be like at the top throughout all the seasons because I know they did lose a lot of their like solid players, but I wasn't expecting them to like first off be so close with teams like FAU. Like 3-2 is still very close and like to be fair, FSU and USC like it's still 2-3, so they're putting themselves in the best scenario possible, but like
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm surprised they lost to USC twice. Like, and it was the same teams that won and lost. So like it's really hard to beat a team twice. So I'm surprised that
Yeah.
USC was kind of able to like, not even like a week or any like what it was like a day or two until they played them again. Like, so not a lot of things can change. So it's like basically like you're playing the exact same team and USC was able to get it done again. So I was kind of surprised about that. But I mean, again, like you said, they have a really good coaching staff. I think they still have the pieces of the puzzle. I think they're just figuring it out like a little bit slower than they would have liked to.
Well, their threes and fours against SC today went to third set tie breaks, and that's your friend Alana Embry and Quincy Stevens going the distance against Stacy Reeves and Sophia Izuzkiza. TCU will be in the mix. I mean,
Yeah, no,
how
for
could it not
sure.
be? And they're losing 2 threes, but you know what? conference tournament time, my guess is they're going to have it turned around.
Sure. I mean, that's a good point. I feel like again, we always judge a little harder because they were just the national champions. So everyone's going to be a little bit more like, but like you said, I don't doubt at all that they're going to turn it around at the moment.
So they will be, uh, wow. Well, actually, they have a spring break. Nothing till March 25th. So a Big 12 preview. Arizona State, Boise State, and this is interesting. TBD. I guess they're having a tournament format of some kind to
TBD.
yeah, as their third opponent during the playoff. I have to ask them or check in with the coaching staff. But with that loss today, three straight losses for TCU this season. So, um, but
Happens.
yeah, it happens to the best of them. That brings us to the then number 5 Texas, now number 4 this week. 10-4 overall, 3-1 at East meets West. Sorry, Sid. 5-0 against Hawaii, 3-2 against LMU, 5-0 loss to UCLA, and a 3-2 win against Cal. Tell me about the Longhorns.
I think this team is definitely like a team to be watching out for. I think their best strength as a team is that they're very aggressive. So, if you give them a free point or like an easy ball, they're gonna kind of hammer it back in your face and make you pay a little. So I think with this team in it, like particular, you have to be very like just dialed and like make good plays because the defenders are going to make digs and their blockers are going to touch balls and I'm excited to see what they do. I was kind of surprised that UCLA still 5-0 them though. That did surprise me. I mean, UCLA of course is like great, but I was expecting at least one pair or maybe even two to, tug at them a little bit, but I mean, overall for the weekend they had a great weekend. I mean, they beat LMU, Cal, and us. So those are all ranked opponents. So I mean, they'll definitely have an opportunity again to play UCLA. But yeah, I was definitely surprised that I was 5-0.
Yeah, I think UCLA just really turned it on, and we'll talk about the Bruins. They're close. Texas was close against LMU again. Few points there in the tail end of the third sets could have gone the other way. So
Mhm.
it was a good matchup, good battle. But I'm telling you, you mentioned the Czech girls, Anna Pavlkova, who is I mean, they list her at 6'2". Honestly, I feel like
No,
she's six
she's
four.
taller. Dude, she
She's
doesn't even have
long.
to jump to block. She could just stick her hands up and it would be blocking.
So I mean, and they were swinging away.
Yeah, they were.
So, but with that, they go over to Death Valley Invitational. They take on number 12 LSU, number 8 ASU, number 17 Grand Canyon, and number 10 Cal. So they'll see three of the same opponents that they saw this last week here. Um, which brings us on up to we haven't really spoken a whole bunch about them. The Mustangs of Cal Poly. They're 14-2. They went 4-0 this last weekend, and they are in your Big West, Sid.
Yes, they are.
So don't shed too much info because I want to show your cards, being that you're playing
Yeah.
them this weekend.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think us as a squad are really excited to see what they have. I think, I mean, they've always been a good school, and like we obviously see them a lot more than other schools because we're in the Big West with them. But,
Mhm.
um, the teams that they're 5-0ing, they're, in the bottom half of ranked. So I think I'm still interested to see how they do against teams that are top 10. I mean, I know that they kind of didn't have the like when they got their two losses, it was when they were ranked against opponents that were higher than them. So I mean, I'm just still interested to see like against teams like Texas, against teams like UCLA, against teams like Florida State, like where they're kind of where they would like line up with them. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We're excited to play them this weekend, so it should be fun.
Yeah, their two losses were only to UCLA and USC, and
Yeah.
they've got a really solid. I mean, ones and twos: Ella Connor and Aaron Inskeep, who are the Big West Player of the Week again, I believe, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. But I mean, look at their twos: Izzy Martinez and Logan Walter, another solid pairing, and then their threes: Quinn Perry, teamed up the FAU transfer Ashley Adams. And then Westby and Lenahan at the fours. And then the only team that I don't know a whole bunch about, Hannah Byers and Maddie Byrne. But for the five, solid reputation. And that five pair, they had to go the distance or extras in one set, and they ended up clobbering the team in the second set in their final
Huh.
duel.
Interesting.
So my guess is because it's youth, but for the most part, Todd Rogers does a fantastic job, and
Yeah.
they're gunning. Cal Poly history making team last year, highest finish last year at three, um, and they want to make that better. And
Yeah,
you know that
for
they're
sure.
determined. So Big West Challenge. We race the teams, but Sydney's going to be having fun with the Mustangs. So the Big West here, it's a good time to bring up because they're the highest ranked of the Big West teams. But everyone knows, and Hawaii has played spoiler maker in the tournament at the end of the year. You know, is this you going to go full bore? You going to show your cards here, or do you
No, I'm always close to my chest, Rob. You know this.
or do you shuffle the deck? Put Sydney at the fives or the threes instead? Yeah.
I don't know. You have to wait and see.
Move Yulia up. She can hear. I know she's listening.
She can hear. She's like, huh? No, don't move me up.
So that leaves us with three of the top teams. There's been quite the shuffle here. USC 18-3, 5-1 this last week in the FAU Beach Invitational. Wins against Tampa, FAU, and TCU 3-2, but the 2-3 loss to Florida State. USC also had two duels today. It's a Tuesday. 3-2 win against TCU again, and then Palm Beach State with a 5-0 win. USC, always solid. What do you think is going to happen here as we move into the second half?
I think they've kind of figured out their pairings a little bit. I think they were kind of struggling at the start of where everyone should be and who should be with who. But I feel like they've kind of gotten their footing and, that shows in their results. They've always been a team that can finish, and I think that's their biggest thing about USC is like when it comes down to the stretch, they can. So like if they were put in the same position again with Florida State, like I don't see them, not finishing, to be honest. Like they put themselves in a very good position, and I'm surprised that they didn't slash weren't able to finish that duel.
Yeah, there definitely been some good pairs, but I
Yeah.
know that Coach Dane has shifted them around still. Not so much at the ones. That's pretty much a
Yeah.
lock. Kennedy Coakley and Ashley Pater, but there's been some other shuffling in there too.
Well, they Dane had Sarah Woods and Zoe Henson at once for a while, and I don't know, they just changed it towards the end of the tournament they were just at because I think they took Zoe out because I don't know if she wasn't feeling good or what or something was hurt,
Hmm.
but she was back in today. But yeah, so I mean, I think they're top two pairs regardless. I mean, both of them could play at once,
Yeah.
and are solid options. But I think those two are pretty set for the most part. But yeah.
Well, it's looking like the fives is where Coach Dane's really mixing it up.
Yeah, I think up to like even the maybe the threes, like fours is still pretty set, but like I still think it's moving a little bit. But like you said, the fives I think is where they're still trying to, figure it out. Because I mean, the fives is such a huge spot to get a point. So
Yeah. Oh, without doubt. So USC is going to be they have a spring break, then they head over to the Texas Invitational. It's going to be the Texas's version of East versus West. It's FAU, UNF, LSU, and Texas. That's going to be March 27th, 28th. So we got some time off, which brings us to number two team, Stanford, for the second week in a row. But this week, it wasn't a unanimous. UCLA got all the first place votes last week. This week, Stanford has two of those votes. So Stanford, light weekend in the Bay. Houston Christian 5-0, Washington 5-0, UNF 4-1, and Long Beach State 5-0. What say you about Stanford?
I mean, I think this is a program, like I said when we talked before I even knew what they were going to look like. Like they've just gotten better and better over the years, and like I have really high expectations for them this year. And I mean, I think they're peaking at the right moment. I think they'll have their opportunity, if they play UCLA again to take back that one spot. I think it's open for grabs, to be honest. I think Stanford has, pros that UCLA doesn't have and vice versa. So I don't know. I think it's kind of just up to interpretation of who you think is the top. I mean, obviously the polls say that UCLA is the top, but I think either of those teams, could grab that one spot.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, with Stanford last year, they did something first time. Well, actually, it's historical MPSF tournament, but everyone was like looking at USC UCLA, and they won that MPSF
Hmm.
tournament, and
Dude,
they
they're the
had
underdogs.
a
But like, I don't
young
know
team
why.
for the most part. Only a couple graduated. We got pretty much a good portion of the same team in, but the new faces that we're seeing in lineup are winning. That's
Yeah.
what's mind blowing. So I was going to try and pull it up, but Kelly Bellardi, College Volleyball Weekly
Our
contributor,
queen. Woohoo!
I believe, set a new record,
Yes, she
individual
did.
career record,
98 wins.
wins, 98 wins for Kelly. Love her, awesome. Part of
She's
the
the
show
best.
for 3 years now. But she, without a doubt, she was going to do something big, and she still is. She's adding on, and 98 wins is a fantastic stat to have. So with that, she got those wins against two top 16 teams, North Florida, Long Beach State, on Saturday at Stanford Stadium. So exciting time. I actually messaged her, so gave her a thumbs up, and super cool that she's a part of that program. So um, definitely moving up. With that, Stanford, I think there's a lot more that we haven't seen from the Stanford team, and it's
I
crazy. It's already
agree.
at number two. So
Hmm. It is
um,
crazy.
let's go to the final team. Consensus, not consensus. 21st place votes for UCLA. They stay at number one. They're 15-2 on the season. East meets West, went undefeated against Arizona State, LSU, Texas, and FIU. They didn't drop a dual point.
Wow, I didn't even know that. Holy.
Is that insane? I was shocked
Wow.
too. I thought but I guess they pulled them all out.
That's impressive. Wow.
But so, what are your thoughts? As an outsider perspective, you see UCLA doing this early on. Um, what do you think?
I mean, of course they're going to be good. They're always good. I think their coach is amazing, Jenny, and I think kind of like same with Texas. They and like Stanford, they have all the right pieces that they just needed to figure out where to put them. And I think that they kind of figured out. I think they switched up their twos and threes and their fours. They're still, I think those are a little bit more set now, and now they're so I feel like really only though that's set in stone is like I guess probably their ones and twos. I think I mean, of course, we all know Maggie Boyd and Sally Perez. I'm just like so tired, sorry. As the ones, amazing pair, like almost automatically going to get the dual point, if not for them every time. And then as like this past weekend, Kaylee Matthews and Ensley Alden moved up to twos, and like I like that team, I don't even know who to serve. So they're amazing. And then also we've got Ava Williams, who I think should be high up in the lineup, but they already have such good players that she's playing at threes and fours. But that's crazy because she's so good. So it's like, they're just very deep. I think that's the best thing about UCLA is they always have a lot of depth.
Yeah. You mentioned Kaylee Matthews, and she's 11-1 playing at the twos and threes. But I think, well, to me, is a breakout match for her was the matchup between UCLA and Texas against the Pavlikova sisters, because they were down, and Kaylee went on a blocking run against Anna, the 6'2" sister. And,
That's
I'm
awesome.
sitting on the end line going, oh my, someone's in the zone right now.
Yeah. No, she gets so locked in and so hyped. She's like one of the best players to watch because she really just gets so lit. It's awesome.
Then you got Ava Williamson, you mentioned her, who's moving around threes, fours, 16-1 overall record. But this is the one that's been flying in. And then Maggie Boyd and Celebres. Everyone knew that. 16-1. Who cares? Whatever. No, just kidding, girls. But it's Harper Cooper. If you want to win, play with Harper. She's 16-0, and she's been moving back and forth between the threes and the fours.
She's got it. You got to be the undercover ninja. There you go. Harper Cooper.
Well, she reminds me a lot of Devin Newberry, but I think Harper may actually jump higher. And but she was swatting a lot out of the sky. In fact, if there's a plane flying by, she probably would swat that at LAX. So,
Awesome.
she was fantastic. playing on that fours court, and then she took the last duel off because Jenny wanted to get a sense of
A
some other
different look.
players, give them some time. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but fantastic weekend there for UCLA. So, um, going into week 5, it's 8-week season, then conference tournament. What's the mindset for teams going into this back half of the season?
I mean, like you said, I mean, it's the half point mark. So I think if, some teams are gonna flip a switch, it's like the time is now, to be honest. And I'm expecting a lot of upsets and hopefully just at the end of the day, some good volleyball. But yeah, I mean, the end of the season is gonna come quick. It's already halfway, and before we know it, we'll be heading to Alabama. So
Gonna be fun.
it's gonna be so much
Uh,
fun.
any other news items you want to drop, Sydney, before we end episode 301 of
I
College
don't
Volleyball
think
Weekly?
so.
Except for, you got the best roommate in Yulia Tella, and she's
I
going to
do.
buy you some Starbucks tomorrow to get kicked into the day.
I need to buy her Starbucks for keeping her up so late.
Well, that's Sydney Miller of Hawaii. Appreciate your time tonight. Look forward
Thank
to
you so much,
chatting
Rob.
next week if you're able to, if you're awake, and if we can make that work out. So, um, you sure give her a follow as well as the University of Hawaii Beach Volleyball Program. We'll chat soon.
Yay. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for listening to College Volleyball Weekly. Be sure to follow Rob Espero at the Rob on the Mic on Instagram and at Rob on the Mic on Twitter.